All right. Good morning, good evening, good night. Welcome into NFT Live on the Web3 Network. It's another week of survival in this industry. Good to have you guys with us early on this episode. We'll let a few folks kind of roam in as we just press live. I'm sitting here with my co-founder and co-host, Gifted. Gif, how are you doing?
I'm good, man. You know, we did the first GM Web3 of the week over there on X Spaces. First ever X space that we've done. I guess.
Sucks.
Look,
it sucks.
Look, we don't frankly know how to talk about anything anymore. That's where we're at. And it was a great show, but
It was.
But I'm confused. I don't know what it even was, frankly. I don't know what the format is anymore. It's no longer Twitter. So that's obviously a big topic. Hi, Trish. Hey, great to see you over here in the chat. Nox Darkness, I don't know why you got to come in here and make us so hungry, my guy. I've barely eaten. I haven't eaten anything actually today. And you're telling us that you're making carnitas, burritos, sauerkraut, caraway, pierogi filling, fresh tomato, basil, sherry cream soup. And I got none of that. I can't taste any of that because I'm sitting here trying to talk about the news, the latest and greatest Web3 headlines with my boy Q. But yeah, it's a confusing time for everybody that thought they were on Twitter, right? We're figuring that out together, and we're going to be talking more about X and all of the crazy things Elon's saying about this everything app. But also, I mean, the biggest news maybe of all the headlines is that we finally have a logo for GMF3.
Oh, I thought you were going with my PFP. Damn it.
Oh,
yeah,
actually, okay,
no.
You know what? Let's not bury the lead. Actually, that probably is even bigger news.
All right. So the best part about this is that over the past 6 months, I've just been consistently getting flamed by the people up here. I mean, if it's not Gifted, it's Biggie Poppins. If it's not Biggie, it's Prodigy. If it's not Prodigy, it's everyone else. That I don't buy NFTs. That was the narrative. And so finally,
to be fair, Q, nobody's buying NFTs anymore.
Well, you guys are doing a lot of activity. I think you hit on a couple of good ones. But I was just kind of biding my time. I don't really know what I was doing. Just kind of sitting there. And I finally, over the past 48 hours, dipped my toes in there. So I got a Moonbird on Friday, and over the weekend I was able to pick up 4 Onis, one of which was a Mempo mask on the floor. So
I can't believe that. Yeah, that's a honestly great snipe. Congratulations. It's a badass Oni. And yeah, we should look at these floors because like you're doing it right. I was saying I think maybe your patience is paying off here. You're playing it better than I am for sure. Waiting as long as you have because you may. I mean, it's look, too early to say, right?
Too early to say.
But you may have found the bottom on some of these awesome quote unquote future blue chip projects.
Yeah. So a lot of housekeeping, right? Like this. First of all, I lost my blue check and all this nonsense. That kind of sucks.
It'll be back in a couple weeks.
Hopefully, I'm excited to join the. I have held an Oni force from the day it launched. So I had a couple people come out and be like, "Finally, you got on board." I've been here, okay. I've been in the community, quote unquote, but I've never really just like gotten fully immersed. Obviously, changing the PFP is huge. For us NFT Web3 folks. So I'm excited, man. I really like this PFP as well. Like I love the mask outline. I'm a fan of gold. So it's got some gold on the teeth.
It's like a metal one too. Like he's made out of metal. Like this is a crazy Oni. And the hair is kind of like my hair. It's badass.
It made me think of you.
Got the white headphones. Dude, that's a badass fucking Oni. It really is.
When I say that I ran to get my ledger, I sprinted. I was like doing something. I think I was like playing League. And I was like, oh my God, Mempo mask on the floor. Boom. I ran like 20 miles an hour, fastest I've run in 10 years probably. And I was able to get that through. Side note, when you're buying something with the ledger, it takes 30 confirmations. I'm sure that you could you set it up to not do that, but you 30 confirmations where you have to press 3 buttons, then confirm, press 3 buttons. So that whole time I was like, someone's going to find this. I'm not going to be able to get it. But anyways.
But luckily, again, there's nobody buying anything right now. So
It's fair.
So you were able to get in there.
It's fair.
No, congratulations. It seems like maybe you have your forever Oni. It seems like you're very excited about it. And yeah, nobody's talking though, Q. What does it mean for Bored Apes that you, OG
Huge.
Ape, have changed your PFP off of Apes? I mean, now it's going to zero, right? I mean, it must be going down to sub 10 ETH.
Listen, can they ever recover? I don't know. Like, they're losing one of their biggest influencers, if not top 5, top 10. That actually played into my decision to change the Sony, by the way. Like, thinking about it into the effect of like what influence you can have just in that community, I think is definitely something. Like, you got some heavy ass hitters in Bored Apes. Not that like I've rubbed shoulders with a lot of them, but Oni Force I feel like is on the ascent. They definitely have like a vibrant community, and I'm excited to get involved, man. And yeah, it was a good switch. We'll check out the floor here in just a second, but we had another logo switch. Hit him with the gift, Ed.
Well, that's it. Let's pull it up. Let's look at it. Let's enjoy. Let's soak in the first ever official GM Web3 logo, because we've never really had. I mean, I did create like, okay, I shouldn't say it's the first. There was like a very ad hoc sort of placeholder logo that I created a long time ago, but we've really never had an official logo for the show. And as we are expanding out the GM Web3 format to do things like awesome Twitter thread recaps from the shows, and even get into a free email newsletter blast that contains valuable curated headlines, news, hot takes, all the things that we're talking about on these shows every day that we, let's be real. Like we put them in these shows, we put a lot of time and effort into them, but we don't necessarily do a great job of capturing it and getting it out beyond this, right? Like we have an awesome core audience, like the people that show up, like Knox over here, Theo, Vice, Trish, all the homies that show up. Like, we have this amazing core audience, but beyond that, like a lot of this info that we spend so much time putting together and talking about, like it doesn't really get out that much further. So we're trying to work on making sure that we maximize the value, share it out better in more digestible ways. And so that's part of what we're doing with this, GM Web3 expansion, and we needed a proper logo. So let us know what you think. I think you just dropped that tweet over there. Let us know what you think. Good, bad, or ugly. Maybe you love it. Maybe you don't. I see it as like, this is a beginning. It's definitely an upgrade from where we've been, and I'm excited to put it to some use. But yeah, also excited to see what other people think.
Yeah, please drop that in the comments. One thing I will say, GIF, based on what you were just kind of getting after, you said this is a tweet. I don't even know if we can call them tweets anymore. So what do we call them? What do we call X messages? But I'm going to drop the X message thread here. And this was the thread that we put together on Friday. So we did this on Thursday and Friday. This was our first time attempting this. Essentially, curating the news is what we do on a day-to-day basis, is just trying to get it out to people where they are, right? Which is Twitter, which is where y'all are at sometimes. So definitely check out that tweet thread. We're going to be doing those daily, so you should be getting a heavy dose of those tweet threads. And are we calling those the rehash GIF? Is that the...
No, I mean, they are rehashes, but I don't think we're going to heavily lean into that, Brandon, right? Okay. I think it's just a GM Web3 recap or thread, and we don't want to over confuse it, or overcomplicate. It's just putting together all this awesome information from GM Web3 into some kind of newsletter or thread. And that's it. I'm excited to keep doing what we do with all of y'all and try and do it better all the time. But yeah, can tweets ever really die, Q? I mean, that's what I want to know. Like, I feel like at this point, a tweet's a tweet. Maybe they do need to change it because it's too much confusion, but I feel like it's still a tweet in my heart, It'll
always be Twitter to me, damn it.
Yeah.
It's real. It's real to me. All right. We're going to get to some other stories today. Like, the main ones I think we'll cover are going to be X. We got some Oni Force updates. I think they're going to be releasing points here. Mythics had a successful reveal. We needed one of these. I'm interested in
so far
the dynamic.
Don't jinx it.
I'm interested in the secondary market dynamic, though, because is this a W for Moonbirds holders? Like, did they get a certain amount of these, and like, is that liquidity that's entering, right? Again, if we can create some type of positive momentum in the market, then we should start to see W's kind of stack on top of each other. Maybe that liquidity flows into other projects. maybe Moonbirds sees an uptick, and that leads into, some cascading effects there. But we need W's, and the Mythics reveal was, by all accounts I've seen all over Twitter, seemed to be very good. The sentiment to that release. So we'll touch on that. WorldCoin is all over the news. We'll tell you why that's a scam in just a moment. And of course, X rebranding, or Twitter rebranding to X, I should say. So we're going to touch on all those things and a little bit more. So stay with us. We're going to also, be tweeting this out as we just pressed live about 10 minutes ago. So we want as many folks in here as possible. So I'll be doing that here on the side. Gif, you had a great GM Web3 this morning. I think it was a super popular one. Great topics. Did anything stand out to you? I muted.
Sorry, I had to come back to the right tab because I was over here doing the Lord's work and tweeting. I'm gonna, as an act of defiance, continue to use the term tweet, because there's nothing better than that right now. Anyway, give me something better, then I'll change it. Look, floor on the Mythics, to your point, right now sitting at 0.4. There's only 200 of them, or no, about 340 now have been minted. Yeah, we'll be following that. Other things that came up this morning that might be interesting. Nobody seems to really want to talk about Fed now that much, but it seems like that's actually a pretty important big thing. I do think that the conversation around like PFPs, given where the market's at, like do they matter? Is there actually a business model, or like, I don't know. There was some interesting convos around just PFPs in general. But then what I think was most interesting was getting into like what are the real business models, and then is this actually a good time to be onboarding, and how do you do that, right? So there's this interesting conflict between the fact that right now it seems like there's no incentives for new people to come in. It's very difficult to onboard anybody new into the space, and yet it might actually be the best time, because with everything being as low as it is, you're at much less risk of like buying the top or getting wrecked on anything and having horrible experiences. And the potential value that could be accrued getting into some of these good projects at these prices, or getting in early on things, could be massive. So I don't know, like, what do we do with this information that simultaneously there's everything's dead and there's not really a lot of incentives or opportunities to get people in a lot of ways, and yet it might be the best time to onboard new people?
Yeah, that was a great combo. I think Justin Murray was the one that brought it up initially, that topic of the retail primarily not understanding that this is probably the best time to get in, right? Like that's the typical life cycle of the majority of folks who are investing in this industry when it comes to retail, is they wait till this thing is at the, maximum top, the epitome of whatever top that is, and that's when they buy. And so their experience in the industry is, one, short-lived, two, not good. And so we end up kind of at the same spot, or it feels like the same spot at the end of that bull cycle, which is that everyone has gone and left and everyone's upset. It's because they're literally buying the Pico top. So that's literally what we're doing. So
Justin chiming in here saying, FYI, this chart is bullshit. I assume it's because it's primarily focused on ETH, or it's not multi-chain, right? Yeah, there you go. It says it doesn't include Solana wallets, users, buyers. So I'm sure on, like, again, some other altcoins or other protocols or L2s that like things don't look as dire because people are probably reallocating or moving more there. There's more activity starting to pick up there. So that's a fair point. And yet it still is an indicator of the overall health of the market and new people coming in either way, because one thing that you have to call out here, whether or not you like this to be true, I believe this to be true. And that is that the way that most people are still going to come into the space is they buy crypto, they get comfortable with the concepts of Bitcoin and Ethereum being in a wallet, and then they eventually may experiment with NFTs out of that, right? It's like, yes.
So you listen to that 6529 podcast.
Of course. Well, I listen to you, bro. Yeah. But that's just the truth of it, right? And so yes, I think that there's other opportunities and ways to onboard people differently. I'm not saying there's not. Don't come for me, bro. Don't come for me, bro. I'm not saying that Solana can't be a great way to onboard people.
Look, our favorite
but to pretend like most people don't come in through BTC and Ethereum is just just is.
Total. Okay, so a lot of topics to break down there. When the bull does return, when retail does come back in, the fact that we have BTC rails is going to be interesting. Like there, to your point, and I agree with you, this is 6529's thesis, is that most people touch Ethereum and Bitcoin before they touch NFTs. You don't really like make the jump into, you know, NFTs, into the most risky asset and the thing that makes the least amount of sense, you know, quote unquote, right away. And so the fact that people will go straight into Bitcoin is an interesting thesis to play off of if you're in the ordinals piece. But again, that's why we're, you know, primarily covering Ethereum. Like if we need a disclaimer at the start of the show, and Justin, you're here now, so just like have the disclaimer in your mind, like Ethereum's our favorite chain. Like we are multi-chain. I've invested in Wax. I've invested in projects on Solana. I enjoy Ethereum the most. I'm connected most in the Ethereum community. And so that's primarily what we're going to be covering. So just have that disclaimer in your head.
Justin won't sleep until that changes, Q.
That's fair. So
by the time Justin's done with us, we'll all be Solana maxis.
Yeah.
Well, one quick thing on this point though, because Justin is going off, and I think there's interesting points about friction, right? Because I do think that in the next like onboarding waves of quote unquote mass adoption, or like where do the new people and the new liquidity come in? I do think that lower friction, like social wallets, things like that, you know what I mean, are going to play a big role. And so who does that best? You know, like I don't know if Ethereum or ETH layer 2s are going to be the best place. It might be a Solana. It might be a Cardano. It might be one of these other chains that creates a social wallet that's super frictionless and easy, that's integrated into a bunch of other helpful applications that people use in their day-to-day lives. And it's not going to be an ETH killer, but it might really change the dynamic of the whole space.
Well, you think about people that don't live on a certain, you know, amount of money, right? Like they're going to be probably trading on these lower gas fee chains, and that's a significant portion of the world's economy. So I don't disagree that like the lower gas fees are going to be, you know, beneficial to a lot of folks. But sometimes, I mean, you know, the argument can be made about Ethereum gas being, again, a feature and not a bug. Like you're going to have higher value NFTs on that chain, probably a collector base that has a little bit more money, that maybe that is a little bit exclusionary, but that's what maybe ETH will become. We'll see. So there's a lot of, you know, great topics in there. Appreciate the insights. I definitely want to get more into Solana though. I think, you know, Justin Murray's doing a great job being a full, what's the word I'm looking for? Advocate, but more so a missionary, I would say.
Proselytizer, like, zealot. Yeah,
he's made it.
We won't go that hard.
Yeah. He is a
no, but
doing great.
But he does bring a lot of great info, so we do appreciate it. And
yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we're going to be, again, Mondays, we're getting hit with a ton of different news that happened over the weekend, so we're going to be jumping around. Before we do, I do want to have our handy-dandy disclaimer here saying this is not financial advice. We are not financial advisors. Take nothing of what we say and make investment decisions based on it, because you really don't want to see the outcome of that. You don't. You really don't. But I will say, having laid that out,
I thought you were about to say, but WorldCoin's a fucking scam. Jesus.
No, so I want to hit on Oni's news really quick. Also, here's the again, the activity over the weekend. I got it at 0.815 ETH, which seems to be like, again, this could change literally within 24 hours, but it seems to be a good spot to have been getting into Oniforce at.
I think it was an amazing spot.
Again, thesis here, like Oni's doing a great job. They're shipping product. They have some great IP, but the season 1 point system just popped up, I think, on Friday. So maybe right after I'd made the purchase, or maybe this influenced my decision. Oniforce put out this message here, this thread, this X tweet, if you will. God damn it, we're all over the place with that. But they put out this animation, this very short animation. And of course, like at the end of that video there, you saw the important information. Season 1, I believe they called it community points or a point system. Only Force point system and season 1 coming soon. No additional information has been given out, but they were at Comic-Con. They seem to have done a great job displaying the IP there. They have a really strong community. When it's at something like 0.85, 0.81, like I'm getting it. Like Moonbirds, the same thing. I feel like they've been just eviscerated by this market. So buying it around 1.5 or 1.45, I think was my entrance on Moonbirds. So these are starting to get in a realm that I'm comfortable purchasing that I'm in. Hopefully other people feel the same, but it does feel like, at least in my mind, we're approaching a bottom on a lot of these prices.
Who knows, man? We've been saying that for most of this year, and there's still a chance that there's legs lower than this, but I think you've been playing this very smart. I have to give you credit. You've been smarter than me, Mr. Live Mint over here, who, we won't talk about my sins. There's many. But no, congrats, man. If I could be buying Onis at 0.8, I'd be fucking buying as many as I could. And I think the Moonbird was a great move.
Yeah, interested in y'all's take here. If you're in chat and are potentially like looking at different projects, even if they're on Solana, I'm down to take a look and move on over there. But it does feel like, again, just getting that out there. This isn't to say, hey, look what I did. It's more to say, hey, I feel like, that this might be approaching some type of bottom for me. And so I've, taken some calculated bets over the last 3-4 days. What?
No, I know. It's that, but also he wants to show that he has actually bought some NFTs. Do what you did. You get credit. You get credit.
I don't want. Yeah, I would not like to be flamed here on the show every day as I walk.
You got to give the flaming a break for at least like a week. Let's give him a week.
I was thinking maybe 2. All right. Marty McFly says you haven't had any soy yet today. I don't let soy touch this body. You kidding me?
I don't know. These are not the bodies of soy boys. We are at least soy men.
All right, I'm going to hit an early NFT GO Bagcheck here. NFT GO is the sponsor on this month's episodes of the NFT Live show that you are sitting on right now. So we appreciate them very much. They have a lot of great analytics tools. They have a pro feature that we are going to show you tomorrow. So it's a lot of Tech Tuesdays happening tomorrow, and I want to show off a little bit of what NFT GO has been working on. But real quick, NFT GO Bagcheck, we're going to take a look at the market and some of the trending collections.
Yo, we're up to 20 degrees in here. Yo,
couldn't get any lower.
Feel a little warmer.
It honestly could not have. I mean, let's see sub 10 on this sentiment and see what that looks like. It got down 14.
14? Sheesh. I thought it got down to like 16. Damn. 14?
Yeah. So there's an interesting discussion that I didn't add on to that Solana piece that we'll touch on here in a sec, but I want to make it through the bag check really quick. Blue chip index over the last 7 days against ETH is down almost. I mean, what is that? That's almost down 2,000 ETH. So yeah, the blue chip index not looking too hot against USD or ETH over the last 7 days. Market cap and volume are not looking good. It looks like volume's okay against ETH. If we zoom out to 30 days, does not look good. Over 3 months, does not look good as well. I wonder if any of this has to do with Blur not kind of being that attractive to farmers right now. That could potentially be something. I feel like that's kind of cooled off a little bit. Market cap, PFP is going to be the largest by some magnitude there on the Ethereum ecosystem, at least. And in the last 7 days for volume, it's going to be Bored Ape Yacht Club, Azuki's, Mutant Apes, CryptoPunks, DeGods, Opepin, Elementals, Bored Ape, Kennel Club, Pudgy Penguins, and Miladies. And then over the last 24 hours, we've got Azuki, Bored Ape Mutants. Looks like everything's pretty much the same, except we have a Laylips Master Key, which I don't know if I want to click into that one. And then Art Blocks coming in at number 10. So nice to see that.
You don't want to know what the Laylips Master Key is all about? Have you lost your curiosity, your sense of fun?
Azuki is getting into that 4 ETH category that I had shouted out.
Are they down
live.
to, really?
They're not down to 4, but they I think they crossed 5. Like they're in like the 4-9 category. I need to look at this. But trending over the last 12 hours. Let's see.
That was a big story over the weekend, was it? Didn't Machi like dump like 50 or 100 Azuki?
I need to look at Machi's.
Also, important point of order here. Can somebody clarify the plural of Azuki? Is it Azuki or Azukis?
Azukes.
Or is it Azukai? Did he dump 100 Azukai?
I mean, we're just up here getting after today on the puns. Wow. Just this is what you pay for, people.
Semantics matter, okay? Words matter.
I don't see anything on the trendy collection that I even want to touch. Again, Azuki is at 4.73. This project 2 months ago was where?
16? Yeah, like a month and a half.
Oh my God.
Like 15 ETH floor, 14 ETH.
I'm going to take a look here in just a second. God damn.
Yeah, it was up like
15. 17.4 on June 9th. What an absolute fall. Like, what's at a nastier fall from grace?
Okay, so you have to start asking the question, because I was asking this question immediately. I thought it was such a fucking shitty move what they did. But I feel like you definitely at this point have to ask the question, was it worth it? Was it worth, okay, you raised 40. Yeah, you raised 40 to 45. Like, who knows how many millions of dollars with all the, secondary, they're obviously not getting as many royalties as you used to, but they're still getting some. So they've raised over 40 mil, right? Probably. Let's just say it's over 40 mil. Was it worth severely damaging their original IP and brand and collection and status? Because clear, like, say what you want, like, they're still one of the biggest projects. There's still a lot of people that love them. It's still fucking Azuki, and the original project still has great art that people love. It's still got all that, but you can't look at this and say that they didn't like have a really negative impact on their ecosystem and their brand by rolling out a recycled derivative for 2 ETH. Like, so was it worth it? Let us know what you think. That's a great question. If you want to do a poll queue, was it worth 40 mil for basically selling out your own collection, semi-rugging, or like, hurting your own brand like that?
Yeah, Azuki down 21% in the last 7 days. I don't know where that ends. That's a whole nother realm. I don't know if I touch Azuki. I know I said that I would pick them up around 4. That was when they were around 9 ETH and everyone was freaking out.
The problem is that there's already a history of bad behavior that they had worked so hard. This is, again, what I don't understand about the move. Strategically, it makes no sense. They had worked so hard and done such a good job of overcoming the negative baggage. And a lot of people keep saying like, oh, well, they can do that again. Well, they can just show again that they are good operators. So like, they'll come back from this. And that might be true. But also, it's like, fool me once, fool me twice. Like, at some point, like, you have to say that like the bad behavior or the poor decisions that the team makes start to create barriers for people mentally to believe that this is a good direction to go. It's a lot of money to be fucking around with people that don't respect you. And that's the problem that I see, is that like they showed a lack of respect for their original holders.
I totally agree with that. I think, maybe Elementals is probably a better play at this point, especially like if they look the exact same. What's
the floor on that down to?
I'll pull it up. I do have their Twitter or X profile here as well. They haven't, communication in this time period is super important as well, right? Like, your floor is getting eviscerated. I'm sure your Discord doesn't look great, but you could communicate on something like Twitter and talk about like things that are coming and maybe try to stave off some of this FUD. The last thing they have, it looks like, is a retweet on the 21st, which is 4 days ago, 3 or 4 days ago. So it's not great.
It's not looking good. It's not trending in a good direction right now. So yeah, to your point, like I don't think this is the time to be getting in unless you felt like elementals were for some reason a good move. But if Azuki keep falling, oh damn, elementals down to 0.66 already.
0.66, yep.
Dude, imagine, okay.
0.8, yeah, 0.86 on the 17th.
Imagine being an OG Azuki holder. You like put your entire everything into this, your identity. You like worked hard to help build the community, believed in this team.
Yeah.
Forgave all their transgressions, even went out of your way to like convince people that Zagabond wasn't such a good guy, that he was this great, fearless leader, etc. You had, an expectation of this thing. You had your asset worth 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 ETH. Everybody talking about, yo, is this the next Bored Ape? Is this the one? And you're sitting there like, I told y'all, this is it. And then they launch a project that dilutes your supply by 20,000. So now it's a 30K. It's like the exact same art. You have no differentiation in your original identity or IP. You had to pay 2 ETH to get that derivative that diluted your supply. And now that's already down to 0.6. So you pay 2 ETH and your original asset and all your other assets are down bad. Like fucking, they're down to like 20% or 30% of what they were. I would be very unhappy if I was one of those like OG Azuki holders right now. And again, I'm not trying to FUD it. That's just like, I'm trying to put myself in that position. That's a tough spot, man. It's a tough spot for the team, but like I'd be unhappy because again, strategically, they made a choice. They made a choice to take the money.
So a lot of what we're showing up here, man, is again like trying to figure out, with our experience, what the market looks like today, what projects could potentially pull this off, like what are doing well in this moment. And I just think giving your money to Azuki, and I know you're not giving them the money here, like you're just collecting. I think putting your money into the Azuki ecosystem doesn't feel like the right play at this point, just from like a moral perspective. You know what I mean? Like, let's prop up projects that actually do some really cool shit in this space. And so I think
they care about the space, that respect the space. It's so hard for me to not feel like these people have such little respect for their community, their own projects, man.
And for the broader space, to be honest, just like the whole way they went about it. But look, we're on the Azuki FUD train right now. I think DP was asking if we can get Justin on the stream. Would love to have Justin on the stream. Set it up, man. DM me or Gifted, and we can get you on the stream here. Maybe on a day we have Biggie Poppins in as well. I'd love to get like a 4-box going with that. But the other piece of news that I wanted to get to related to kind of the collections here were Moonbird Mythics. Those revealed over the past, I would say, like 3 or 4 days. Like, talk about a project that's actually doing it right. Like, the whole reveal process was great. From the way that they had the animations and the trailers to the way that they have revealed over time. The artwork looks great. The community is super jazzed about it. Moonbirds has been super communicative throughout the whole process. Like, this is how you do a drop. So I'll pull up that trailer for Moonbirds as well that we can take a look at again. And thoughts right now, Gif, on that Mythics reveal, because you're involved in it as well.
Trying to be, man. I elected my oddities and I'm waiting to hopefully get my hands on some Mythics and burn my little gremlin creatures to get in on these, in my opinion, very much improved pieces of Moonbird art. So I don't have any yet. Shout out Young Content. Smash the likes, nerds. But yeah, anyway, I don't know, man. I really hope that I get selected soon, because they're doing this very interesting rollout where it's like every day there's 50 eggs and there's 50 oddities selected that get to mint or burn for their mythics. So it's gonna take a while, but so far it does seem to be well received. And we were optimistic. We know that we need wins in the space, so it's definitely gratifying and feels good. Feels good, man. To see some people actually excited and resonating with a project, especially an expansion project, which can be
Yes.
it can be such a difficult thing if elementals wasn't proof enough. Doing an expansion project that respects the OG collection, that builds on the brand effectively without diluting, et cetera, et cetera. This is not an easy thing to do by any stretch of the imagination, but it is possible if you take your time. You don't rush to cash grab and front run ether. If you don't rush to just FOMO people into a 2 ETH mint and skip the QC process, if you take your time with intention and thought and create good art and create something meaningful, it's possible. It is possible to do this. And so it looks like they've done a good job so far.
So take me behind the actual economics of this, because I want to see a W from a financial perspective too. Maybe that liquidity can flow elsewhere if there is a W. So Mythics are sitting at 0.29 floor price right now. Did the original Moonbirds get some type of airdrop? Is this a free airdrop that they potentially claimed?
I believe so, but I wasn't in Moonbirds, so Biggie would have to confirm that, or another Moonbird would have to confirm. But yes, I believe that there was advantages in terms of getting eggs early or free, something like that, to the OG Moonbirds. And then they also got oddities, I believe, was in some kind of airdrop or expansion. And both the eggs and the oddities can be burned to create mythic. So I think that there's been multiple different avenues for Moonbirds, original Moonbirds holders, to get in on the mythics, either for free or very cheap, very early on.
Mike Erlinson saying, who would buy an Azuki over a mutant right now? Seems silly with the price diff. I agree with that. We can look at mutants as well. I didn't know that they were all the way down in that 4 category as well, like sub 4 ETH. Oddities are doing extremely well. So I believe mythics are seeing kind of a downtrend, but oddities.
So I guess I made a good call there, because I picked up 2 of those around 0.2 or 0.22 or something.
So a couple days ago?
No, a couple weeks ago, because we knew this was coming for a while.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Okay,
got in a couple weeks ago or a month ago or something.
Yeah, somewhere in this range. Okay. So oddities doing well. I'm hopefully, we don't have Biggie Poppins here to confirm this, but I would love to get his take on what the Moonbirds community is feeling right now, because this is a dub. This is especially if it's a free claim, this is actual money flowing into their pocket.
Yes, and to me this also, strategically, I get it. I see a path where they're moving, and they paired it, to your point, Q, they paired it really well with a cool animation that shows the story, the lore. They're going more lore IP building too. And by moving away from the pixelated art into this really, nice, cool looking illustrated, I don't know if I'd call this anime. I don't think it's really anime, but more of an illustrated cartoon vibe. You can actually see how they grow this IP and the lore in that direction in a much more accessible, friendly way. So I can see this growing and expanding into something. Whereas again, with the Azukis, I'm strategically, I have no fucking idea what they were thinking.
I want to
get other than let's get this money as fast as we can, and throw a great party and FOMO people in a couple of days that are still hung over from our party into giving us 2 ETH for recycled assets that we didn't have to work hard on. Other than that, I don't know what the fuck they were thinking. Marty McFly, of course, had to come in here with the flames,
with the flames
to roast our boy Q. But actually, not really. Just saying that he's seen the light. Look, it's a big deal for Q. Let's be easy on him. He changed his PFP off of an ape for the first time in how long, Q? Years?
It had to be years. Yeah, I mean, I've switched around to I believe one other ape I had. I sold the bunny ears,
But it's been an ape.
but it's been an ape the whole time. Yeah. So that, Marty, I know you were asking the question like what was actually going down there. We were talking about that PFP switch. So I have not abandoned the BAYC ecosystem, but BAYC lost a good soldier. Lost a good soldier out there with the PFP. Do I think that the ship needs to be abandoned? Absolutely not. And do I think the PFP, the price of the PFP will continue to go down? I think it might. You know, retail is just not here. Like it's that simple. Retail is not here. So a lot of these projects have completely bottomed. I don't think BAYC has bottomed. Like Moonbirds again, Oni at 0.8. Like it can't go that much further down. It's a 7,777 piece collection. There are people that are going to support that price, whereas BAYC, I mean, you're in a territory where the retail is just not going to be comfortable picking that for $60,000, $70,000.
And not that I've made a whole lot of great plays since this, but I will have to point out that I sold around 50 ETH saying that it was going to go a lot lower.
Shout out.
And nobody wanted to hear it. Nobody wanted to hear it. But
what?
No, the momentum.
I was talking about what you were doing with the funds, not what the sell was. The
momentum
fine.
Just couldn't be more clear, right? There's no liquidity coming in. It's all leaving. And that's just the way it is right now. And it sucks, but you can't fight it, you know?
All right. So let's look at mutants because Mike is bringing up buying a mutant over Azuki, which I think is a great play at this point. Again, Yuga is half of the market for the most part. So their mutants have shown to be now, I wouldn't say on par with BAYC, but for the most part, I mean, they're like 80% of the way there.
Q did not sell his ape. Let's be clear. He just changed his PFP.
Yeah, I did not sell my ape. Good Lord. Okay. There's just stories abound. You make one switch and you're just kind of a traitor, Benedict Arnold, if you will. I hate mutant art. I really do. I'm not a big fan of it, but we're not here to check out the art. We're here to check out a little bit of that price. So obviously it's been seeing a significant decline. It was 6.7 even a month ago, now sitting at 5.6. But I think it's a pretty easy and solid thesis to say it's really hard to bet on Azuki right now. Now, do you want to be right or do you want to make money? Azuki has somehow come back from this before, and you can see the volatility around the assets. If you want to gamble, go ahead. It probably has a more volatile future than something like mutants, but you're betting on the overall Yuga ecosystem, betting on mutants there. So I would take that bet, Mike. So Marty's saying I'm buying nothing but stink bids on nice squiggles. Marty, I thought you left, dude. I thought you had said, you know, sayonara, peace. I'm headed into the sunset on my horse.
He misses us too much, Q. He just can't leave us. He can never leave.
You really can't.
This is like Hotel California. You know, once you check in.
All right, we got a couple more stories to hit before we close out the episode. DP is saying it'll be interesting to see what happens in the bull market. I still don't have a solid thesis. I will say, listen to Punk 6529. He's a great listen. He was on the Empire or Blockworks, I believe, podcast talking about his thesis on NFTs. There's a couple ways to break this down. One, I will say, like, regular retail users gamble on anything. Like, they will gamble on literally anything. And so NFTs coming back in a bull market, I don't think is that hard to, you know, kind of predict.
Y'all start this up. Nifty Q sold his ape. He abandoned ship. Let's get it trending. Shout out to the homies who have a great sense of humor over here. We appreciate y'all. Mike, I see you. Mistakes were made with the wallet Q was in control of. Yeah, I don't know.
And the Twitter profile. Somehow somebody got in and changed my PFP to an Oni.
Yeah, super arsenal. I mean, look, at this point, there's been many mistakes made with wallets that I control. XXX Super Arsenal. Are you trying to give us kisses, bro? What's going on over here? No, I'm just kidding. I get it. As a retail investor, yes, gambled on ICOs, stablecoins, NFTs, shitcoins, meme coins. Dude, you're doing it all. Doing
Thank
it
you,
all.
Squash.
Yeah.
Appreciate your sacrifice. Hopefully you took some dubs home on the way there. Anyways, DP, it's tough to break down like an NFT thesis, right? But I believe that digital property rights will be important. It will only get more important as the world moves more digitally. Like it's that simple. And things like sneakers, things like NFT art, things like maybe PFPs are in that environment, right? As we move more into VR and
Dude,
AR, those things will
watches,
be super important.
cars,
Yes,
everything. We're already seeing it. There was a fucking $2.5 million NFT for an OG, like special Ferrari that was just sold.
And the precedent exists for game sales now. We've seen a bunch of these like large game item sales in CSGO, and then they immediately ban those accounts. But you saw that people are speculating on digital assets. So in the gaming environment.
The thing that I don't think like we have a true appreciation or understanding of it all yet too is that because it's all digitized through financial assets on the blockchain, just by having an asset like something that's actually backed up with a physical good, right? So a luxury watch, an automobile, a home, whatever it is, by having that backed up on a blockchain and a financial, like something that's already a financialized thing, opens it up to so many different new things, like the lending, the ways that you can lend and fractionalize and borrow against these things and whatever. And this is what we've already been seeing with luxury watches. We really haven't covered this here. We probably should, because it's actually really fucking interesting, man. People are lending and borrowing against digital luxury watches now.
So there's a market where they're not taking custody of it, but they're buying it on a market, and then like break it down. Are they taking physical like custody of these watches?
Yes, there's companies now. I think one of them is called like Arpus or something like that.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can find it here in a moment.
Yeah, for sure.
But the point is, like, when all of these assets are backed up on chain like that, it makes doing these global, super fast, frictionless derivative, financial derivatives way easier than has ever existed. Like there's going to be markets that pop up out of this type of shit that have never existed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if, and this is why, things like Rally could be interesting potentially. Like what if StockX had all of their shoes on like the blockchain? What would that do? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have no fucking idea, but I bet it would be crazy. I bet there'd be people like pulling all kinds of, creating new businesses out of that,
Squash is saying RIP to Q's Ape. I knew it. Gonna post NBA. Don't do that.
Copy pasta. Copy pasta. RIP to Nifty Q's Ape. I knew it. You'll be missed. Everybody copy pasta.
So we're talking about different NFT use cases. We're kind of preaching to the choir here, although it definitely helps to have like a narrative that we continuously like work on. The one thing I will say, and I'll pull up the EOS chart because DP's actually making a great point. He has no doubt that the NFT market will catch fire again, but he doesn't know if old projects will regain the attention or if everyone will look for the shiny new project or team.
It's going to be a mix, right? Some will, some won't.
100%. And I'll just use this example. It's been brought up on the show before, but it's great to like look back at this because it gives an example of a project that was very, very like what I would just say like popular in the 2017-18 run. I mean, it was one of the top 10 cryptos, I believe, at the time in its heyday, and in a environment where you saw Ethereum go back down to like $80 or $100, and then literally just like bashed through its all-time high on the next cycle when the NFT run, the NFT bull run also had, Ethereum go to whatever it went to, 4,600. Bitcoin went to 60 or something in that range. EOS never regained even its all-time high. So not only did it not do like any type of like extreme multiple, it didn't even hit through its all-time high, and it was one of the biggest players of that era. So I could see someone sitting in 18 or 19 saying, okay, next bull run, all of these are going to do well, especially some of the top projects. And EOS is an example that I point to all the time of don't get caught betting on the wrong horse. If that's what you're trying to do is spot bet and just take that, to infinity and just hold it. If you bet on the wrong horse, you're screwed. So I absolutely love that take. I think that NFTs will, see another run. What that looks like, who knows? And what projects are not going to do well.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like at this point we should all just be considering these basically startups, right? Unless it is specifically an art collection, art project with a legit artist behind it, then then you're speculating on the artist and the art, right? But primarily, most of these bigger collections that are not pure art plays are like startups. And just like in the dot-com bubble, a lot of them, the majority, will fail. A lot of the ones that were hyped up that did really well will do good. Then there's going to be ones that survive. There's going to be ones that turn into the big guys of the future. There will be the Amazons and the Facebooks and like the whatever else is that come out of it. And that's what we're all hoping to get some of that. But there's going to be some other smaller ones that come out of it and turn into something interesting and valuable in their own way. But the majority are going to go to quote unquote zero or never be worth much.
Yeah.
As credit where credit's due. We haven't simped for Gary Vee in a minute. He's been saying this since the beginning. He was out there even when people were, high as fuck on all the hopium and WAGMI culture. He was out there just being like, yo, slow your roll. Like most of this shit's all going to zero. Like,
yeah.
And I think a lot of people were upset at him at the time for saying that, but
well, it's against the WAGMI culture, like you're saying. The idea that like we're all gonna kind of 10x our bags and then 100x and just be fine. It's like, no,
the WAGMI cabal. Apparently, that's a new term that I've learned.
All right, so we're making it through for the most part over the weekend's news. We had a couple things come through on the NFT side or the Web3 side, and then we had Elon coming out and just absolutely changing, just putting Twitter on its head, basically. And you had the switch to X.com. Now apparently it's X. What that all means for the terminology that we use on Twitter, we're figuring out now. Like what are tweets? Well, what is a Twitter user? Is it an X user? I have no idea. So I'm all over the place with this one. I like the direction he's going with the app, although there are some centralization issues there. But the branding absolutely fucking sucks.
Yeah, it is, and it might actually be a placeholder for a while. We'll see. I mean, if you can just own the letter X, though, that's pretty cool. Even if doesn't feel that great right now. It's interesting because it like feels very Terminator dystopian, like future. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that's what he's going for. But you slap a big X on the hood of a Cybertruck, and there you go. But I don't like. Are you able to pull up X.com? Because it just shows me a GoDaddy parked domain. Like I know the X on Twitter has changed, or the logo on Twitter has changed, but X.com doesn't pull up anything for me. So I don't know if
it's still
cash.
No, it's me as well. Yeah.
Okay.
So interested. Obviously, we have some smart folks in the audience. If you're listening afterwards, let us know in the comments as well. But what is your take here on X? What is your take here on Twitter?
DP's got a funny one. There's enough prawn or spicy content on the motherfucker for it to be called X.
It's fair.
Not wrong. You're not wrong. I see no lies. Squashman and Super Arsenal talking about VFriends coming out with Squishmallows. I actually haven't been paying that much attention, so that seems like something we should look into. Squashman saying he's bearish on Squishmallows and bullish on Squashmallows. I see what you did there, Squashman. Just Murray saying Mallow is a great new art marketplace that launched. Okay.
Does anyone like this rebrand? Like, we'll get into the features of X. Does anybody like the move from Twitter to X? And I need some links here, Gif, if you got any that are breaking down the different feature sets there, because I want to get into those, but I don't know if anybody actually likes the rebrand.
I did have one somewhere. I don't know if I can find it. I'll try and find it. That showed kind of what's coming. I think the things that are most interesting right now to be paying attention to for us and a lot of our friends are the fact that he does seem committed to making creators more of a focus point and finding ways to incentivize the creators on the platform and rewarding them. So that's actually very exciting. That's one thing that I'm very excited about that he's working on. And again, like, everybody is so fast to shit on everything that he's doing. Dude, what he's doing is hard, man. There's a lot to this, and he's trying to move fast, break shit, and try new things. And I'm trying to give him some time and space to like figure it out. I do have this. Oh, here you go. This is, I think.
I just want a breakdown of what.
Here you go.
Because I know this announcement came out with like multiple different things they were trying to accomplish over the next year with X. Okay, so everything app, new domain. Okay, all right, yeah, let's jump into this thread real quick. Okay, I will also say before we jump into like the actual details, a lot of this is just him trying to recreate WeChat. There are a lot of ways that Asia, at least from a tech perspective, is in front, especially retail usage. Like, you want to talk about how far the US is behind, still using cash on the regular. Like, we've gotten better in the last, I would say, 5 years at this. But I feel like Asia was like fully cashless, at least to some extent, way before we were. And so this is just, in an element, you want to see what WeChat does within China. That's what I think Elon Musk is trying to do with X here. But here's the thread. Maybe we can make it through. Again, a new app will take its place. X, the Everything app. Here are 10 features that are coming for the Everything app. Is that the Everything app? Really? New domain.
I don't know if that's like a brand line or slogan. The way that that's positioned is like it is. Maybe it is.
New domain will be x.com. The bird logo will be blowtorched off the headquarters building. Is he using one of those boring company torches? That would be pretty cool. Creator payments, the first payouts has been processed. You no longer need to have a subscription button. You no longer need 5 million impressions per month. You will soon get paid for profile visits. That will be an interesting meta to check out. Creators will be paid from the moment they requested creator verification. Ad sharing will be available in over 100 countries. Term followers will be changed possibly to viewers. Bookmark changes. Bookmark feature is underwhelming and is receiving updates. Bookmarks straight from the timeline. Search feature for bookmarks. Weekly email with saved bookmarks. Anything jump off the page you get yet, Gif? We've been through like 3 or 4 of the features.
No, again, we mentioned like he's experimenting with different ways to incentivize creators. I'm very excited for that. And yeah, I wanted to shout out Justin Casey. Great to see you. Thanks for coming to hang with us today. Is there more? Let's keep going.
Yeah, so the ad sharing piece with 100 countries, super important when you think about. I wonder how they're going to roll this out with different currencies or different areas having obviously a different standard of living. Does everybody get paid out the same, or is it adjusted based on where you're living? All of these random questions, but if it's not adjusted based on where you're living, you'd think this is a really big boon for like influencers that are not living in some of these high GDP countries, right? Like, you can straight up make a living from Twitter just based on making X amount per month in your local country. That's pretty big. I think that's a really interesting piece. You'll see a lot of people living off Twitter. That will essentially be something we do in the future.
You mean X? Yeah, X then becomes Axie Infinity for a lot of the country, right?
What's that? X will be what?
X becomes Axie Infinity for a lot of the world.
Yeah. Well, so, look, some of that element is cool though. Like there's one thing to be playing a boring ass game and trying to make a living off of it over and over, and then you have value creation that you create on Twitter, right? Isn't that a little bit different? Like doesn't the value feel a little bit different? Like you're actually creating value, so you get paid for it, as opposed to.
I think that the incentives are maybe a little bit better. I've seen Elon Musk talking about the like raison d'etre for X, Twitter, whatever, and like what he's trying to do from like a philosophical position where he talks about like he wants this to be the greatest like source of truth. Like he wants it to be the closest thing to like the truth app. And like, look, I like the ethos. I like the sentiment. I don't know what that means or how you do that. Like who, but if he's going towards a more decentralized direction, he's going towards ways to share value with the network, the people that are contributing to it and creating value. He's actually incentivizing people who are creating good value that is truthful, creating, integrating ways to authenticate identity, different types of products, adding rails, for blockchain and finance and all this type of stuff. And he's doing it in a more equitable way that empowers people around the world. Like there's a lot of potential here, man. And that's why, again, it's like, it's not all going to be perfect because the world's not perfect. And these are very, very difficult problems that he's tackling at scale, at global fucking scale. Like, do you know how many languages and how much content they're dealing with every fucking day? But the potential here is massive. And, we watched that little clip of him talking about how he sees the potential being that X, this new everything app that he's turning Twitter into, holding half of all financial transactions on it, basically being like half of the total financial infrastructure or something.
Yeah.
Responsible for half the volume or whatever he said. I don't know that that's a likely outcome. However, I can understand like why he sees the potential or what he's talking about, right? Because this guy is literally building the future of internet, the future of travel, the future of everything. And now he's got one app that he's going to integrate everything into. It's the everything app. So again, I'm not
yeah.
If you imagine that this guy has the Starlink like global internet network at his disposal.
Yeah.
And he's got all of the infrastructure for electronic vehicles, not just a lot of the cars, the infrastructure to charge them.
Yeah, it's getting scary.
I just mean like, the people that fucking keep just doubting this guy.
So also, this is actually a big.
Real quick, one last point. Sorry. He started with a payment processing company that changed payments forever.
Yeah,
and actually changed finance forever.
PayPal. Yeah.
He started with PayPal, y'all. Like
we started with X. It was called X.
Yeah. If you think that this guy isn't capable of revolutionizing finance, he's already done it. So
yeah. So there's an argument to be made here that NFTs are going to see a big boon from X.com being this all-in-one app too. Because what you're going to have is the ability to have payments on the platform. You look at something like WeChat, right? Emojis and the stickers on that app are incredibly popular. So you see a little bit of this in Telegram today. That's like the Western version. But a lot of these stickers that exist on WeChat are paid for. People make incomes based off of those, and they're collected. So you have all those features there in NFTs. I think X.com could be on this platform. It could be a big positive for NFTs. I think you could make that argument. I swear y'all give Elon so many unearned accolades, bro. Puts capital to work. He doesn't mastermind any of that shit. It's somewhere in between. The answer is somewhere in between. So he's not. I mean, he has done a lot.
Look,
in his time.
If anybody could just put capital to work and achieve the things that he's done, there would be hundreds or thousands of Elon Musks. There'd be hundreds of thousands of Elon Musks around the world because people have access to capital. So it's not just that, right? Like yes, you're right. Like he's not responsible for everything that these companies have achieved.
Yeah. That's part of the job of a CEO for sure.
Yeah.
Smart in the sense he understands how to surround himself with people smarter than him. That's definitely a great CEO. That's a feature of a great CEO.
To call Elon a regular run-of-the-mill billionaire is, I think, not. I just think it's a bad.
He's accomplished more than the run-of-the-mill billionaire for sure.
There's a lot of billionaires that were just given money and given assets that have never accomplished a fucking thing in their lives, bro.
Yeah. And honestly, like I will give him credit in those two sectors, right? In space travel, NASA told him, or the people that be told him, hey, you're not going to accomplish this. Like you're essentially not going to privatize the space industry, right? And clearly that is moving more into that realm. And then obviously in the electric cars as well, they said there's no way that you can compete on this level. Electric cars will not do anything. And you see that's been a huge displacement as well for the industry that existed. So anyways, we'll continue to have this convo, but we want to get back into X highlights tabs. It looks like this hasn't been implemented, but not many people use it, or this has been implemented, but not many people use it. Twitter designer has also come out and said she doesn't love it. Very likely we will see it's changed soon. We've seen this. Like we've been on a call together and said, like, hey, what is this highlight feature? Have you used this?
Yeah, I added a highlight. Go check it out.
Is it like a different tab? Is it like a tab over?
Yeah, it is like a tab, but it's very similar. It's probably even worse of a design than the one on Instagram, to be honest. But it's similar to it in that I very rarely use it. And the way that it's hidden right now as a separate tab, I don't think almost anybody's going to use it, right?
Okay.
So yeah.
I want to get through this. So shadow bans are an issue on Twitter. Elon confirmed Twitter will show shadow bans directly on users' profiles. That's big. That's actually a healthy improvement for the app. So this is like the first one that I've seen, other than obviously the payment systems, that is going to be like a really direct impact to the current users. Videos. This actually has some implementation for us, GIF. Updates have been made to videos on the platform. The maximum video length is 10 hours. Picture-in-picture video watching is enabled. And live streaming video has a high priority and will be implemented soon. So
more NPCs, just get ready to be absolutely fucking flooded because they're going to incentivize live video when it comes out. Here, okay.
Is that the content y'all want from us? Do you want us sitting up here just like, awesome,
gang? Is that what you want?
Literally, we did that for 5 seconds, and I'm already cringed out of my mind. So,
dude, I fucking hate it. Okay, can I go down a quick dystopian rabbit hole though for fun?
Let's make it quick. I do want to get through this and end it at a normal time here.
All right. Well, if we got more news, let's hit the news first. I'll share my dystopian rabbit hole tomorrow morning then.
All right, easy scam reporting. The current reporting system, yeah. Platform color default. What? They're just making dark mode default. Yeah, that's a huge innovation. Financial institution, if done right, X would. So this was the video you were talking about. We can jump into this really quick and have him, or at least have Elon's hot take here on X being a half of the global financial system. Let's check it out.
Essentially, if done right, the X would be would serve people's financial needs to such a degree that over time it would become, I don't know, maybe half of the global financial system.
Wow.
Or some big number.
Okay.
I'm not sure what the number is. So pretty big. So it would be by far the biggest sort of financial institution. But like I said, not really in the way that people are used to thinking about banks. Mm-hmm. Just the most efficient database for the thing that is money. They said like least amount of fraud, everything's real time, and if it involves money in any way, it can be dealt with seamlessly on one node.
So sounds great. One, he overpaid for Twitter because that's where people are, and that's where you can set up these systems, and that's the genius of it. Is you just purchase something where everyone lives, and then build the tools for them, and then you can control all of that. The one thing I will say about this in particular, you talked about fraud. There's in its own element, because there's no payments on Twitter yet. Twitter is like one of the worst spots when it comes to scams and the amount of links that are being shown, the amount of scammed profiles. So they have not done a good job of policing that. So for Elon to say, hey, we're going to be a place where no fraud exists is a tough one for me. Again, you could say, hey, they're going to fix this. He's only been on the job for, a year or what have you. But the fraud on Twitter has gotten worse since he's taken over. So that's where I'll kind of push back against that statement and what that looks like once payment rails are put in.
Yeah, it's a great point. It's definitely a concern. I think that they're aware of it and probably working on solutions. And I think one of them is that they've already been implementing Twitter Blue and a subscription verification service. So I could see a world, because I already know that they've done price discrimination at different tiers for Twitter Blue, right? So like I think iPhone users had to pay like 11 or 12 bucks a month. I'm sure, and like you can price discriminate by geography and by phone and by different other things. So you can say, if you are in Ukraine right now, your Twitter Blue verification is only $3 a month or $2 a month or $1 a month, whatever the fuck it is, while everybody in the US is paying anywhere between $8 to $15 to $20 a month. They're making money over fists to run a verification service that takes, up to 10 days, but at least provides some initial verification. I'm not saying it's perfect right now. It takes too long. You're going to experience this. Hopefully you get your blue check mark in a couple of days. It took me at least 10 days when I changed my PFP. It was fucking pain in the ass. But what's the point? The point is they already have a paid verification system that they've been rolling out. So all they have to do is find ways to keep updating that technology and get to a point where it's like you have basically a soulbound token or something verified to like a wallet address that's KYC'd on their platform. You know what I mean? Like it takes steps to get there. They're not there yet. But like I see Twitter at some point adding a KYC step, and only once you have KYC'd and gone through whatever process to collect your soulbound token to your wallet that's connected to your digital identity, whatever that is. Once you've done that, now you have access to XYZ additional financial tools and benefits on the platform. They're not going to just allow anybody that isn't KYC'd to participate in a bunch of different financial tools that they're going to throw into the system. That doesn't make sense to me. So like these things, like the problems that are going to come with it have to come with new solutions. Like,
yeah, and those are going to be developed over time, to your point. So, yeah, I got you on that. All right, we are going to head out of here pretty soon, man. We're trying to keep these episodes down to about the hour and 15 mark, if possible. That way we can do a little bit more work after the episode with our curation on the threads, on the newsletter that we're going to be releasing. So I do want to head back into that really quick. Any last thoughts from y'all? Drop them in the chat as it's related to X.com. I'm super bullish on it, man. I think it's a big move. Like being able to, in most of the biggest profiles are going to be the ones that see the most revenue. But this move towards releasing different, quote unquote Web3 features, because these will eventually, I think, be on some type of like, you'll be able to transfer Ethereum to an individual. You'll have Bitcoin tipping. These are all things I think they'll eventually implement. This is big for it. Even NFTs. NFTs are going to have a marketplace on Twitter. You look at WeChat and you look at all the features there. Look at X.com and there will be a lot of those same ones. So I think it's a bold move, and I'm not simping up here. Like we're just, I think, in support of Elon's, kind of release of features. I don't think, I don't know how much Jack was involved in Twitter going back those days, like near his, time of sale, but it wasn't looking that good. Like the features were not being implemented. Like Twitter didn't look that much different than it did when I got in originally, when I, joined the crypto space. So this is a massive, shift. Obviously, they're changing the entire brand, adding features. This is why we were simping for the purchase to begin with.
Yeah, and whether you like it or not, there's probably been more done to update Twitter and the interface, the brand, all this stuff in the last 6 months than in the previous 10 years. So, again, yeah, it's not all perfect. So like it or not, at least he's innovating and trying new shit, throwing the spaghetti against the wall, whatever, to see what sticks, right? So I think that's what's interesting. But I also think there's a lot of opportunity here, right? So it's like if you see that this guy's building out an everything app with a massive global ecosystem, and you're an entrepreneur or a creative person, there's probably ways for you to get involved, build something that's unique within that, right? So I don't know, but yeah.
No, that's good. Great take. DP, great take as well. Definitely. I think, all around that's a great encapsulation there. Yo, we are doing Twitter threads now to basically recap what we talk about here with y'all. Like the majority of people, again, are living on Twitter. We are going to continue to build out our Twitter presence. We're going to continue to build out our YouTube content. But doing that in, some strategic ways is what we're kind of leaning into here. So we have these Twitter threads coming out after the episode. Y'all participating actually helps us create these threads and makes it more, more value add than if we were just kind of creating by ourselves. So we appreciate y'all coming through with the different types of content, what other stories you're looking to talk about, because then we're able to do this thread in a more intelligent way. We're also releasing a newsletter here relatively shortly. So we are going to have info coming from the Web3 Twitter profile on that newsletter. It's going to be a daily one as well that you'll get in your inbox at like 6 a.m., 7 a.m. in the morning, something like that. And we'll attempt to get those out daily, even on Fridays. Hopefully we can get one out.
That'll be starting later this week. We're not quite ready yet, but yeah, we're getting close.
So I'm going to drop this link for an example thread. We'll be putting out one, like I said, in the next hour. But Gifted is following up there with the newsletter coming out on either like Thursday or sometime later this week.
Yeah, it's coming soon. You can go to web3.life, w3b3.life right now and sign up if you want to be one of the first people to get the new GM Web3 newsletter. Yeah, we'd love to have you join in. This is exciting for us, right? We're really trying to create more value from all the work that we're already doing and get it out there and make it digestible, make it interesting, make it valuable as always. And again, like NFTYQ said, y'all, if you listen, if you join in the show, y'all are a big part of this, because we go through this process of like talking about the news, refining our thoughts, and now we're just trying to codify that and share it more, share it better, do a better job of putting it together, right?
Absolutely. All right, that was the NFT live show on Monday. What day is it even? July 24th. We're still here. We're still alive.
Barely, but we're here.
Markets are looking a little rough on the crypto side. There are some projects, though. I mean, this is the whole idea, right? Is to find the projects that are, doing extremely well, or at least doing better than the majority of the market. And I think there are some that are coming out of this. We mentioned Oni. There are a lot of others doing well. Our heavy metals are going through ups and downs, GIF. I know we bought at like 0.8. They're sitting at like 0.65 right now, just all over the place when it comes to just the price action on that. So we'll continue to watch that one, man.
Absolutely. I'll save my Black Mirror dystopian nightmare idea for tomorrow morning. Heroin,
that right off the bat.
Heroin's joining a special guest tomorrow. Justin Murray may even join us for some Tech Tuesday deep dives into Solana things. We'll see, but we're definitely gonna be talking about music NFTs tomorrow on GM Web3. So I'm excited to be joined by the one, the only Heroin. It's gonna be awesome.
All right. We'll see you tomorrow. Good luck until then. Head on a swivel out there in the wild, wild west of the Web3. Super excited to have Heroin on tomorrow, and we'll be back with another NFT Live. Our Vibe, our tribe. See y'all tomorrow.